Hey, and welcome to another episode of Lightroom Newbie, where we attempt to edit photos in a not so conventional way. Because let's be honest, I'm still learning a lot of things, and you're still learning a lot of things, so let's learn together. This particular image was from Reddit user damshawty, and dam is spelled D-A-M, as in the Hoover Dam. And I'm assuming this name was inspired by a very small and short dam. So Damshawty took this image in New York City, I believe, and we basically want to have an end goal of something that looks like this. So essentially, we have a sunset coming in from the left and the impending night coming from the right. We used graduated filters for both of these. So I'll go over how we went about doing that. So first thing is first, let's fix this cropping real quick. I basically want to get rid of this image or this building kind of jutting out in the top left. So let's just get rid of that. There, perfect. And let's boost the exposure some as well. Not too much, but it was a little underexposed. That's a little too much. About right there. We don't want to blow the whites out. And while we're at it, since this is kind of going to be a sunset-like photo, let's warm this up just a bit. Not too much, because we're going to be coming in with that graduated filter and adding a little bit more orange to this side. So we don't want to do it too much, but just enough just to kind of give the overall feeling of it's sunset. Okay, so we're not going to touch contrast, but we are going to boost the highlights just a bit and bring the whites all the way down, just because I found that that is what's worked best in this particular image. Shadows, we're going to pull those up quite a bit because all these buildings were really dark. Blacks, same thing, just a smidgen. Just kind of bring out the detail in these buildings here. Clarity, same thing. We're just going to kind of add just a bit, not too much, because when you add too much, it starts looking pretty gross. So let's go about plus 30 there. Vibrance and saturation, we want to be careful with these because I don't want this to have too oversaturated look straight from the get-go, because we're going to be adding that filter again that's going to accentuate some of these colors. So let's just pull up a little bit on the brightness, and we're not even going to touch saturation. So that is it for the basics. Tone curve here, I'm just going to kind of play with things until it looks okay. I think highlights, pulling that up just a bit, looks good. Lights, same thing. Darks, I'm debating on this one. I don't know. I kind of want to do pull back on the shadows and up on the darks just a bit. I don't know. I think it looks kind of cool. Okay, we'll go with that. I don't know why it looks cool, but it just kind of makes this weird. Like, I guess I'm kind of like forcing a contrast without using the contrast slider. Who knows? Looks neat though. We're not going to be touching this particular tool set just because I don't find it's really useful in this case. Split toning. So for the highlights, what I did was kind of added a little bit of yellow, not too much, just a bit. And I think that looks pretty good. We're not going to touch the shadows here. Detail. I have it set on the sign, and you can kind of see, especially in the whites, that there is some grain there. So I'm not going to touch sharpening, but I am going to reduce the noise some. About 26 there. Let's see. That looks good. All right. Detail is complete. Lens corrections, we've already got remove chromatic aberration enabled. That is good. Nothing for transformations. Actually, I'm not going to actually do any vignetting because of the particular filters we're going to be adding. Is going to provide some of that effect in a sense. So we're not touching that. And the only thing we're going to do under camera calibration is kind of changing the reds just a bit to make them, at least to make this section look a little warmer. And we're not touching it hardly any, just changing the hue, essentially going to more of an orangey look. So I think it looks good. All right, so graduated filters. Let's get started. We're going to start with the sunset side, top left. So let's add one coming from the top left corner, like the sun is behind the cameraman. And first thing we're going to do is warm up those colors. And let's kind of pull this a little bit more, a little past halfway. And we want to kind of expose it a tad bit more, and also add a little bit of dehaze just because it was kind of blowing it out in that top left corner. Let's see, highlights. Cool, because I'm trying to basically get this building here to get that orangey glow as well. Basically, these two buildings are going to have the orangey glow, and then this building on the right is going to have this deeper, cooler blue look. So I think it looks pretty good though. So I think we are done with that filter. The next one, let's have it covering this building and kind of going a little bit into the sunset just so they kind of merge together. So what we're going to do is the opposite on this one and kind of cool down these colors. Actually pull the exposure down just a tad and pull up the contrast. And we're going to, actually let's not touch the shadows. That's all we really wanted to do right here. Okay, great. I think it looks good. All right, and the last thing we're going to do is basically, we have this sign right here. That's kind of a centerpiece. So what I want to do is kind of brighten this up and add a little bit of that sunset look to it. And we have this filter going through it, so it's actually going to have like half sunset, half of this blue cooler look. So it'll actually look kind of nice. So let's press O to get the overlay going on, so we know what we're doing. All right. Just make sure we fill in all those gaps. I have auto mask on, and auto mask is funky sometimes. Cool, looks good. All right, so same thing here. We're gonna kind of warm this up a little bit, boost the exposure just a tad. We don't want this, way too overexposed, and it'll look kind of unnatural. Like it, it obviously doesn't have that much light, so we don't want to like boost it all the way up here. So just a little bit. We can actually probably warm that up just a little more to kind of match the colors of that building. And let's pull the highlights up just a tad. And we are just about done. Actually, I'm pull the clarity up on it to just kind of add that little bit of pop. And that looks good. So let's see the before and after. So before, we went from super underexposed, kind of boring look, to this nice sunsetty view of the city. So that's all there is to it. Thanks for tuning in, guys.